Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and welcome to the DM test drive of the 2021 Porsche Cayman GTS. This is one of the purest examples of the sports car available here on the new car market in 2021. 2 seats, mid-engine, natural aspiration, and a manual transmission. Folks, it doesn't get much better than this. Very classic design here. The Cayman's essentially just the hardtop version of the Boxster. They both go by 718 now, so Porsche's trying to eliminate a little bit of that name confusion. People wondering, well, what's the difference between the Cayman and the Boxster? I mean, they're the same car. Yes, they pretty much are at this point, and that's why they're both called 718. So, we're going to take a little bit more look around the car here, and then, most importantly, get this thing out on the road. That is where this car is meant to be. It's a driver's car through and through. But that doesn't mean you don't get a little bit of practicality. The Cayman has a decent-sized trunk in here. You can fit some things, probably not a set of golf clubs, but maybe a weekend bag or two. You can see where if this car had the Burmester 12-speaker audio system, we'd get some speakers there, but instead, we have the mid-range 10-speaker Bose 505-watt audio system. If you want to see a dedicated review on that, check the link in the description. Get that closed. The engine's sitting down right in there. Can't get to any of it, but you just got to trust and know that it's there. And if that's not enough storage space for you, in the back you come up to the frunk. Since there's no engine, you get this pretty sizable frunk, actually. A lot of room in there. You can do some more goodies and stuff. As for the engine, we're dealing with 394 horsepower and 309 pound-feet of torque here with the 6-speed manual transmission. Plenty of power for this size of a vehicle and weight, only about 3,100 pounds, give or take. And for 2021 sports car standards, that's pretty darn good. Hopping in this beautiful interior. Let's get it out of the garage and into a little bit more of the sunlight so you can see better, but wrapped in Race Tex, kind of this Alcantara material, sweet red cross stitching, red seatbelts. This thing is built super nice. Sport mode for the start. Away we go. I love the manual climate controls. In fact, I really like all of the controls in this car. They did a really good job at making everything make sense and work nicely. A little bit of a learning curve to kind of just figure out where all the buttons are and what they do, but once you do figure it all out, it works great. I love having this little rotary knob as well. You got your normal, sport, sport plus, and individual drive modes. Super easy to switch between. If I want to calm things down, go a little bit quieter, do that. Normal mode, cruise along, and then as soon as I'm ready to drive sporty, click, click, all of a sudden, sport plus. Super straightforward. Classic Porsche gauge cluster as well. Get the nice manual tachometer dead center in the middle. Exactly what you want for a manual transmission car. A little bit of a legacy speedometer on the left side. It's still kind of cool to have, I suppose, but I will admit, even back in my 2001 Boxster that had both the analog and digital gauges, I was always looking at the digital speed gauge, and that still holds true today. Okay, that's fine. Porsches sound very mechanical. It's something that takes a bit of getting used to. In a newer car, you take more comfort in knowing that nothing is wrong, but when you've got a used Porsche and you're kind of always worried about something going wrong with it, the fact that it makes so much noise, so much mechanical clicking and those aspects, it takes a lot of getting used to. If you're gonna daily drive your Porsche, it's not really the best sounding car for just daily driving, taking it easy. But when you do get on it and you do unleash this naturally aspirated 4-liter motor, that's when it all pays off. sneak peek there. Rev match action. Ooh, yeah. Oh my gosh. The first time I opened this thing up, let's just say expletives emitted from my soul. It was so good. That rev match. That quick steering rack. I cannot overemphasize how nice this car is to drive. If there's any downside, it's just that the gears in this manual transmission are so long that to get on it and really hear it, you're gonna be speeding. It's just pretty hard to avoid. Oh my gosh. The way it rotates and the feel from the steering. Porsche does the best steering on the market right now. Even though it's electronic, might not be quite that 10/10ths as good as hydraulic power steering. In this day and age, you don't care. I also don't care that the manual is slower than the PDK. This is an awesome amount of power for this car. I love having to work for it. I love that if you're down in 4th gear and you lean on it, it doesn't feel particularly fast, but it crescendos, it grows, and along with the sound, it's so good. Driving any Porsche, but especially one of the performance models, an S or a GTS, or oh my gosh, even something like a GT3, it's a special experience, and it's a driving experience that you aren't likely to forget unless you're someone who's driving, I don't know what you'd have to be driving on a daily basis to make Porsches forgettable. But for any common person, getting to have a part of your body result in that sound and this feeling, the sensations behind everything, it's unforgettable. Oh, goodness. When you get up to highway speeds, set the cruise, and this thing is a perfectly livable machine. We did our highway fuel economy test with this and actually achieved 30 miles per gallon at 70 miles per hour. EPA only claims 24. Pretty impressive number. You are going to get a lot of road noise from these very aggressive summer tires, but small price to pay. Another thing that's interesting about this car, and what I think speaks to how great of a sports car it is and how communicative and how nice it feels to drive, it's the first sporty car we've had in a really long time that I haven't even been encouraged to turn the traction control off and start doing hoonigan slides and shenanigans. I'm satisfied with the grip, I'm satisfied with the driving feel, and I just want to drive the car. I just want to shift more and more. I want to rev it up and I want to hear that sound. I want to feel it go over all the bumps. I want to feel the bumps come through the steering wheel. I want to take corners like that and let the G's load up on one side and let the engine crescendo, the power build. I'm not encouraged to swing this thing around corners and hang the rear end out, make 11s on the asphalt. There is a reason that people pay the Porsche premium, and this is evidence right here. This is Evidence in the flesh. I would so love to have one of these out on a racetrack and just lap after lap after lap be able to shift and accelerate and then brake and hear every sound and feel every motion. The funny thing is it doesn't sound that dramatically different from my 2001 Boxster S. And obviously, good amount more power, higher redline. But the essence is the same. And that's one of the tough things about Porsches, is they're all so good. You could go back 20, 30 years, pretty much all of the water-cooled Porsches are going to be just as satisfied and good to drive, at least the 6-cylinders. I mean, this is a big step up from 4-cylinder 718s, but the 6-cylinder cars, you can drive any of those and they're a satisfying, connected, visceral driving experience. Any of the Porsche sports cars, I should say. And the problem with that is then the values don't depreciate. So you got Porsches that are 20 years old and have 30,000 miles on them, and they're costing not that much less than they would new. So it's kind of like, ugh, as a subjugated used car buyer, it makes it tough to get into them. I'm sure there are better driver's cars on the market right now, but at this point in time, I don't care. Fun fact, no proxy key in this car, so you still have to take this Porsche car-shaped key and stick it in and turn it, which, to be honest, does kind of add to the experience. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen, Daily Motors' first Porsche, the Cayman GTS. What an excellent driver's car. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more on the Cayman, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.